Hi and Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 6, Glory. We're gonna present about case study project, Craven Books. This is Glory Group's member, which is me, KHAIRULHAFIZ HASRUL bin KHAIRULNIZAM, Muhammad Nur AMIRUL bin AMRAN, AMIRAH HASYA binti ABDUL AZIZ, and Nur Asyikin binti MUSTAFA KAMAL. Now, we move to stakeholders' expectation and probable repercussions of this case. Firstly, from Director of Craven Books, Peter Craven, he has 4 expectations towards this case, which is number 1, is new system will promises major advantages. 2, new system will decrease time and cost of business operation and work more efficient. 3, all activities will use electronic system which will be enable orders from client to be done instantly. And 4th, expand the business by upgrading the computer system of the warehouse. The repercussions of the stakeholder of this case have 2, which is number 1, he will cut off a lot on marketing and advertising. Number 2, 60% of the workers will lose their job. Next, from the consultant itself, is John Mentor. He has 3 expectations towards this case, which is number 1, help on find best software packages for Craven Books. Number 2, approaches to software packages, which is industry standard package and tailored solution. And number 3, makes lack of direction and instruction for employees on using the new system. The repercussions to the stakeholder of this case is number 1, Craven Books sued John to claim the loss faced by company by using the new system due to John's poor recommendation. Number 2 is the accusation did tarnish his reputation as a consultant. From the employee side, which are Claire, Jane, and Tony, their expectation towards this case have 3. Number 1, the computer system can help to improve the warehouse work. Number 2, the computer system makes their job more efficient. Number 3, the system will give positive impact to business operation. The repercussions to the stakeholder of this case have 3, which is number 1, ordered had plenty and vice versa. Number 2, about to dispatch the orders, the computer will reject it because the item is too light. Number 3, lost their job. Next, from Jack Green, as a customer, he has expectations toward this case, which is number 1, customer believe that their ordering process can be improved by the new system. Number 2, customers receive different from their orders mix. The repercussions to the stakeholder of this case have 3, which is number 1, makes the customer to lose interest on buying books and magazines from Craven Books. Number 2, give negative feedbacks on business. And number 3 is Craven Books lost their major customers and this leads to huge loss.
The next one is main issue of this case. So Craven Book is a company that distributes comics and books as well as successful magazines in the 90s. And due to the development, those businesses have decided to use the system computerized in facilitating business in Craven Books. The main problem in this case is that moving from Craven Bookstore to a fully integrated company is too ambitious right now. The main issue here, the first one is failure in the new systems. The more complex the system, the more room for error, and the more vulnerable Craven Bookstore would be if something went wrong. The decision to use this computerized system with no objections from all parties. Craven Books IT manager Tony Crane was given the responsibility for this project. Initially, the system will only be used in parts of the Craven Books warehouse to make it easier for employees to handle stock. But the opposite happens when this computerized system involves all operations in Craven Books, which is a failure in the new system. Firstly, it will reduce the performance of the company, such as the actual situation conflicts with the result displayed by the computer systems. Secondly, the accuracy of weighing device implanted in computer systems always give incorrect readings and measurements. And they also can decide which is the best IT system to use. So they pick the system without even trying to identify whether the system really works or not. When Craven Books choose to use a consultant, it will involve like high cost and there are risks that Craven Book must face when outside parties are involved in these projects. And Craven Books is fully responsible for handling the computerized systems. And after the system works fully at Craven Books, employees should be given training and an understanding related to the system so they can operate it well. But this was not the case at Craven Books, and the trouble began when employees faced problems in using the systems. A lot of error happened in the delivery of goods to customer, and this caused customer to also face problems because the order items are not the same as the good received. More than 60% of the staff were being dismissed. Wrong orders were being delivered to the customer, and the company had to fire like most of the staff and change back their system to the old systems. This mistake because Craven Book lost its main customer. Craven Books failed. The system does not work as it should be required and has put the blame on the consultant who was appointed. And in the end, Craven Books decided not to use the system and cancel the project. As we know, computers have become an indispensable 24/7 tool in many companies to improve their business. Yet there is a lack of understanding of the impact of the workplace on a company, whether it affects physical or mental health. And the last one, they rely too much on software consultants, like to even review or access a given system to test its efficiency and effectiveness prior to implementation. They do not attempt to review or evaluate a given system to test its efficiency and effectiveness. And the project doesn't hire people to monitor it. No one is held accountable if something goes wrong with the system. And a tailored solution is more expensive than the standard package. And due to this bug in the new system, the company brought a lot of negative feedback, and this leads to many issues that affects the company performance, such as the conflict that happens in the actual situation. They do not attempt to review or evaluate a given system to test. The, Therefore, companies and organizations must identify and measure the risks and benefits associated with these changes and all opportunities. Craven Books should conduct further research with a professional team to support effective risk management decisions. The most important lesson is to first identify your association needs and problems and then think deeply about the innovations.
Next, we will present about phases of system development lifecycle, which is SDLC. What is SDLC? SDLC is a process used by the software industry to design, develop, and test high-quality softwares. The first SDLC from Craven Books cases is planning. Peter Craven does a feasibility study to ascertain the need for a new system. He also examines the problem customers face and look for a possible solution, which are industry standard package and tailored solution. And the third one, the employee also develop a project plan and present it to the management. For the second SDLC is analysis. They define the specific problem which both of the methods have, and then they gather the information. After that, they analyze that. For the first method, it's the cheapest solution, but it may have changed in a way to suit the software. And for the second method, you will only get through a system that meets your needs if you are lucky. The third SDLC is development. This is because a new software products get created. With a new product, Cravens divide the work into units and his team working on them. They also check the code for semantic errors in the few new software. Next, the fourth SDLC is deployment. Craven Books needs to keep both of their old and new system for some times, and the project ownership also had been transferred to the client after these cases happened. The fifth SDLC in this case is maintenance. This is because the clients continues using the new system, so there will often arise the need to make changes and improvements. Second, with the new requirements, there will be a need for additional functionality. Fine-tuning the system also can be done for performance purpose. And the third one is because of the performance schedule upgrades can cover security gaps and any other needs that arises.
Next, let's move on to the lesson from the Craven book. First lesson is put your business first. Craven books must put their business first for any decision they make. For example, when they expand their business and they contacted to the publisher, but at the end, the whole thing took off. They could take it in order more up to 10,000, but now it's become chaos when they completely replace the system because of their think that it is a great idea. Therefore, Craven book must prioritize on their goal first over everything else and prepare for the occurrence of conflict in the future. So the first lesson is put your business first. Craven Book must put their business first for any decision they make. For example, when they expand their business and they contacted to the publisher, but at the end the whole thing took off. They could taken in order more up than 10,000, but now it's become chaos when they completely replace the system because they think that it is a great idea. So Craven Book must prioritize on their goal first over everything else and prepare for the occurrence of conflict in the future. The second is simplify your business before computerizing. All the staff in Craven are used the old system where they pack the old individually and receive the customer order and have to walk miles all around the warehouse. So for that, staff do not realize how important it was to stick to this electronic map and they did not follow the system. For that, they should analyze the current flow and identify the key area to focus. Next lesson is take one step at a time. Craven went for a combination of the two options, which is the standard package that the consultant modified, but the approach is also has its danger. Craven started slowly to make a progress but not jump into a massive ambitious system. Therefore, before the purchase, Craven must compare the new system under consideration so a proper evaluation of migrating the business historical data can be assessed. Next is standard package are less risky. Craven should know the different type of strategies to fulfill the needs of customer. The advantages is Craven use this package. It is more cheaper solution since all the programming has done. And disadvantage is just this software is all the business are not same, so Craven may not have to change their ways on working to suit the software. As Craven should do before changing the system is to ensure that the change will increase success, such as the evaluate the business first. And Craven should decide before purchase the system. They must know the purpose. The objective to use the system are not simply make any decision to purchase it. So Craven should choose and focus on their best solution. Lastly, do not believe the supplier and consultant. Why? Because we don't know whether they're really on our side or do they just want to maximize their fees. As you can see, Claire taken up problem to the Tony, and then Tony would take up the problem to the software consultant, and then the consultant would come back with the sum of sort of modification, and this really taking time and money. As the consultant said that Craven Book were not really aware of the type of system their mind as the system they wanted. So because of that, they blame each other, and the software consultant sued that Craven Book for the non-payment of fees. As you can see too, that Craven Book is actually did not look at the small print in the contract and just sign them, which is we can say that Craven Book is easily fooled by them.
So for the conclusion, in the order to stay in the business for a long time, the business owner should implement suitable information technology system for the company to survive the market. The implementation should not only to meet the shareholders' expectation toward the company, but also to fulfill the customers' demand and change in the behavior as a type of changes. Thank you.